The most recent such exercise, Global Thunder 2025, which involved practicing scenarios, let me emphasize this, of preemptive missile and nuclear strikes against Russian territory, took place in October of this year. Overall, this is a unified set of measures, which also includes possible U.S. plans to conduct nuclear tests, and these significantly increase the level of military threat to Russia. From this, it follows that we must keep our nuclear potential ready to inflict unacceptable damage on the enemy under any circumstances and respond appropriately to Washington's actions in order to guarantee the security of our country. Given the above, I consider it appropriate to immediately begin preparations for full-scale nuclear tests. The readiness of the forces and assets at the central test site on the Novaya Zemlya archipelago allows us to conduct it within a short time frame.
Trump recently stated that the United States of America is resuming nuclear weapons testing. Members of Parliament are raising questions and overall expressing concern about the situation because it's clear where this could potentially lead and what it could provoke. Therefore, based on the fact that 2 years ago you said that if the U.S. returns to nuclear weapons testing, Russia, for its part, has every right to do the same. Could you clarify on this topic that concerns practically every member of Parliament and is being raised in questions, what steps and actions we will take, considering that this issue is truly extremely important, especially since the President of the United States has commented on it?
Yes, indeed, these are all serious questions. Well, let's listen to our colleague, the Minister of Defense. Andrei Ivanovich, please, the floor is yours.
Dear Vladimir Vladimirovich, dear colleagues, we, of course, should focus not only or even primarily on the statements and remarks of American political figures and officials, but above all on the actions of the United States of America. And these actions clearly indicate that Washington is actively building up its strategic offensive weapons. Well, first of all, the White House has systematically withdrawn from arms reduction and limitation treaties that had been in effect for many years. In 2002, from the ABM Treaty, in 2019, from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, and in 2020, from the Open Skies Treaty. Therefore, a possible U.S. withdrawal from the moratorium on nuclear testing would be quite logical and could become another step by Washington toward dismantling the system of global strategic stability in the world. Second, the United States is carrying out an accelerated modernization of its strategic offensive weapons. Work is underway to develop the new Sentinel intercontinental ballistic missile with a new nuclear warhead. Its range will be 13,000 kilometers. Work is also underway on the Advanced Columbia-class strategic nuclear submarine to replace the Ohio-class. A new heavy bomber, the B-21 Raider, is being developed. A cruise missile with a nuclear warhead is also in development, and so on. There are plans to reactivate 56 launchers on 14 Ohio-class submarines. I want to emphasize specifically the reactivation of their full loadout with Trident II ballistic missiles. Preparatory measures are underway to convert 30 B-52H strategic bombers back into nuclear weapon carriers. Third, the Americans have begun implementing the Golden Dome program, which provides for both missile defense interception and pre-launch strikes against the ballistic missiles of Russia and China. Fourth, by the end of this year, the United States Army is scheduled to adopt a new Dark Eagle medium-range missile system, equipped with hypersonic missiles with a range of 5,500 kilometers. Furthermore, there are plans to deploy this system in Europe and the Asia-Pacific region. The flight time of such a missile from German territory, where this missile system is planned to be deployed to targets in central Russia, would be about 6 to 7 minutes. And fifth, Washington regularly conducts exercises with its strategic offensive forces. The most recent such exercise, Global Thunder 2025, which involved practicing scenarios, let me emphasize this, of preemptive missile and nuclear strikes against Russian territory, took place in October of this year. Overall, this is a unified set of measures, which also includes possible U.S. plans to conduct nuclear tests, and these significantly increase the level of military threat to Russia. From this, it follows that we must keep our nuclear potential ready to inflict unacceptable damage on the enemy under any circumstances and respond appropriately to Washington's actions in order to guarantee the security of our country. Given the above, I consider it appropriate to immediately begin preparations for full-scale nuclear tests. The readiness of the forces and assets at the central test site on the Novaya Zemlya archipelago allows us to conduct it within a short time frame.
Thank you. Well, regarding the first issue, I invited the Chief of the General Staff to participate in the discussion on the main topic. Since this issue has arisen, I would also like to ask Valery Vasilyevich to share his thoughts on this topic. Please go ahead.
Comrade Major General Commander, the fact that the American side does not provide official explanations regarding President Trump's statement on the resumption of nuclear testing does not give us grounds to believe that the United States will not begin preparations and subsequently conduct nuclear tests in the near future. The American side may continue to avoid giving official explanations, but that changes nothing, because if we do not take appropriate measures now, we will lose both the time and the opportunity to respond promptly to the actions of the United States, since preparing for nuclear tests, depending on their type, requires anywhere from several months to several years. We are aware of statements made by a number of high-ranking American officials regarding the resumption of nuclear tests in the United States. And an analysis of these statements indicates that Washington is intent on preparing for and conducting such tests.